Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for a Friday morning edition of Today at the Races. I'm Dan Illman along with Keith Fustel. It's Belmont Stakes Eve.
Yes.
Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll have
Yes.
our final predictions for the Belmont Stakes. But first things first, a nice 9-race card here at Laurel Park.
Glad to be back on the turf course. Gotta love it. We were hoping to get back on it last weekend. Unfortunately, the weather did not want to cooperate, but we've got a beautiful day today at Laurel Park, kind of a Chamber of Commerce type of day. So competitive card. There's a couple races that really gave me fits, but we're going to try to help you along here, get you some numbers. Hope you played along last week on Sunday. We were able to catch that early pick 5. They're not easy, but they pay, and that one did pay over 900. That'll carry us for a little bit, but good to be back on the green.
Good to be back on the green, and you said a mouthful. It is a perfect day. Let's take a look at our weather conditions. The main track is fast. The turf course is firm. It is 81 degrees right now. Now the weatherman says there might be some thunderstorms in the forecast. I don't believe him.
I hope not. I've got the mower sitting outside. That's the last thing I need. Go home and see that fool of rust in a little bit. But no, I think right now, and then like I say, it's going to be a little tricky tomorrow and Sunday. We're just hoping this rain stays away. If we get some just minimal, and we'll stay on this turf course.
But good competitive cards all weekend long. Good betting races, including the opener. Let's take a look at the field for race number 1 on Friday. 5.5 furlongs on the turf. It's a claiming event, 16 down to 12.5 for 3 and up, which have never won 3, or the straight 3-year-olds. Take out the main track only entrant, the 11 Kissling. The 9 Roller Coaster Man will be ridden by Forrest Boyce. This is the first leg of the first of 2 value pick 5 wagers. Low 12% takeout for your 50-cent minimum wager. It is the best bet in racing, in my opinion. And you've got a ticket, and let's hit it again.
We're going to try to run it back. $24 ticket. I kind of dropped this ticket. I had it up in cost, up about 48. I said, we're gonna just kind of shrink this thing a little bit. I think 24 is fair. Really gonna lean on these 2 to get us started. Upside Down Man and Berletti. There's plenty of speed in the offing. I do think these 2 will benefit. Race 2 with the 4 and the 6. Holy synchronicity! What a race that was last time out. Race 3 with the 3, 10, and 11. Really tricky race. Looking for Joe to maybe pick things back up on the turf. Lack of lick in race 3. That's why I'm going to toss in Masacato. Race 4 with the 4 and the 6. Moments Notice, Urban Symphony. Scratch the 2, Chesapeake Dream. Some of that flow comes out of race 4. Could aid a horse like Moments Notice. And let's finish things up with the 1 and the 6, Rob the Rich, Southern District. In race 5, $24 early value pick 5. Again, 12% low takeout.
Let's take a look at your top selection in race number 1. That is the number 1 Upside Down Man. We have a video spotlight. This horse came back and showed no rust off of the winter break, returning to turf for Kieran McGee.
And Dan, he even showed a little bit more speed. I wasn't quite expecting this, but he was keen to go, pretty eager early. And Lopez had to kind of reach up and just kind of take a little extra hold there early to stay off heels, then works a trip. Shifting out, and what a nice run this one brings. He's run some very good races over this turf course. I'm going to run it right back with this new Kieran McGee trainee, and this is something he does quite well with. When these horses come back second off of a barn change, second off of a claim, it's at a big rate when they win.
And Kieran's barn's been going very, very well recently. And you mentioned this horse's newfound tactical speed. There seems to be some pace in here. You could probably tuck in and try to work out an inside-out trip under Carlos Lopez. I'm going to go with the number 8 Tough Workout. Why? Because I always go with the number 8 Tough Workout. And I have to be honest with you, I'm starting to get tired of his act a little bit. He's 2 for 54 lifetime, and I've played him several times, and I've lost money on him several times. But he runs just well enough to keep tantalizing me. I thought his race 2 starts back on the turf was okay. Kind of got bumped a little bit leaving the breaks, had a pressured pace inside a horse that tired to finish behind him, and then he ended up tiring himself in between horses. I think he's tactical enough that he can sit third outside of the 2 speeds, in with a chance turning for home. It's just, does he really want to win? He's usually a good price. I'm going to give him one more chance before I write him off for good.
Okay, sheds a little weight with the apprentice. I do think, there is plenty of other speed in this race. He does not want to be caught in a duel. But showing that fight, he just might be capable enough to kind of drop inside, get a little bit of cover, which will enhance the run from the top of the stretch home. I think Borletti is another one. A good race last time, a similar level, worked outward. was a little closer than I thought. I think he can be a little bit more effective from further back. He's going to be further back. I can't see him laying quite that close today against some of these other horses that seem a little bit more one-dimensional, keying around the 1 and the 5. Happy John, we discussed before the show. This guy, 100 to 1, the last 2 starts, and he comes second off of a break. He's kind of all but been eliminated early in those 2 tries against much, much better. The relief is going to move him up today.
Not only will the relief help him up, it's his second start of the form cycle, and he really likes 5.5 furlongs right here at Laurel Park. You look at his 2 starts here, a second, a win. He should get the right race flow. He is a lot better than he looks on paper, and I think he might be a playable price in this race. Listen, he was wired last time out by Bourbon Boss, who's a real solid horse, was the favorite that day, and he should get a little bit more pace to run at in here. Let's talk a little bit about Roller Coaster Man. We've got a trainer stat for Roller Coaster Man. Kerry Raven moving route to sprint. 6 for the last 26, 23%, a $4.38 ROI. Now, this horse returned off of the layoff, going a mile. Ran against Kings River. That horse came back, won with a 84 Beyer speed figure, so that race looks legitimate. Is this distance, though, too sharp? I know the barn does well route to sprint. This one needs pace.
Yeah, and you're going to get Forest Boy, so you're going to probably get the shortest route, especially into the stretch. This horse does not have nearly the speed of any of these horses. Probably, I think, will be trailing into the turn and probably past mid-turn, and then going to work an inside-out type of a trip. But I think there's enough speed to come back to make this horse a player. This horse was on and off my ticket I'm going to use. And that ROI, when you consider route to sprint on the turf, goes up to 583 off of that. So, yeah, this horse triples, exactas, supers. This is definitely a horse that can pick up a piece.
But Keith's going to go with Upside Down Man and key on the 1 and the 5 in the first leg of the value pick 5. 1-5-2-4 for Keith, 8-5-9-1 for me. We'll see if Tough Workout gets it done for me finally.
Okay.
Race number 2, we're going 7/8 of a mile. This is one of those starter optional claiming races, and it's a pretty competitive group. For 3 and up, started for a claiming price of 20 or less in the last 3, or the claiming price range 30 down to 24. Field of 7, first leg of the first of 3, 50-cent pick 4 wagers. Again, I've been saying, and the pick 4s have been paying very well. And again, if you're alive in the pick 5, get involved in the pick 4. If you get knocked out of the pick 5, definitely get involved in the pick 4. We'll start with your top selection in here. That's the number 4, Murray. You got the trip last time out. We've got a video spotlight for Murray, who went out for Jamie Ness at Penn National, and this horse was able to grab rail position, sit in the pocket. Once the fence opens up, he fires on home.
Interesting. He was kind of scrubbed on to stay within range, a little bit closer than normal as well for Murray. Yes, it was contested. He might need a little bit of help today, but laying closer at 6, maybe get even a little bit closer at 7 and finish up, is able to cut the corner, grabs command here heading to the 16th pole and is going to go clear. We've got J-Rod today. Dangerous combination as always, jockey trainer. Murray's been okay. A win from 10 starts over this course. I think, 8 of 10 in the money. I think there is enough flow with Back in the Woods, brother Conway, possibly whiskying you to lay close. But here's your stat for Ness. I'll let you talk about this one, and I've got another one to talk about as well.
Ness third after layoffs between 61 to 120 days, 38%, a $2.30 ROI. What you got?
Yeah, something we throw up on the Echo-Base site as well on our app. You've got these amount of stats, and I glance at them every once in a while. They've been generated, you're looking at Ness the last couple years. They've got it right. This Penn, the Laurel move, 7 for 16, 44%, ROI 270. So that's a good move, Penn, to hear off of the win, third off of the break. Yeah, I think he can kind of sustain that run, grind it out from just off the pace.
I'm hoping Freeze the Fire will appreciate a little bit of class relief in here. This horse has a lot of back class. He was third in the Maryland Million Sprint last year, and last time out, he kind of got sandwiched leaving the break. He hustled up and tracked the pace, 2 path 3 wide while in between. Then it just looked like he stopped running on the turn and he finished evenly. But he was in against a good horse that we'll see later on today, Augusta Melody. I like the class drop for this horse. I like him getting back to a fast track. And I just hope he gets a little bit of pace to attack, because I have a feeling that there may not be a ton of pace. And we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about about Holy Synchronicity first, because we both have that horse right in there in our exotics, and why not? The horse is very consistent. He's one of your favorites, and he looked good last time.
He's a horse that owes me no money. I did not have him last time. I did not see that race coming. Look at the comment. Vied outside, eagerly clear. One's under a drive. Never really in doubt. I don't know where this kind of speed has come from, and the willingness early. I think it's going to work against this group. Brother Conway, just to his outside and back in the woods, might be a little bit quicker through that opening quarter of a mile. But the way he did it, full of himself, I mean, he could really kind of be drug up to contention by the 3/8 pole and bring a finish, certainly shortening up. He should have that bottom.
And what was most impressive to me about that race wasn't the figure, which was very, very strong, but the fact that the horse that he was battling with early ended up finishing last while he kept on rolling. So he took some heat. He is in very sharp form. And again, I don't mind horses cutting back to 7 furlongs. Brother Conway, in many ways, is the key to this race because we know he has a lot of speed. We know he has a lot of ability. He had a claim voided back on June 2024. He returns off of a 10-month layoff and a tough second-level allowance. He doesn't do much running that day at all. Against this class, he should show speed. If he can still run, he's a factor.
I like the fact that they're giving him kind of one more chance as well. This is a horse they've done quite well with. No surprise if this horse would have been down to 75 conditions. They kind of still protect Brother Conway. Horacio Caramano's back. This jockey-trainer combination is always one to watch out for. But you're right. I mean, flow is going to be really tricky in here. Freeze the Fire, your top selection, I've got in the mix. I mean, where do you want to see him? Because when he's right, he's got a little bit of natural speed.
I need to see that versatility, and you just have to play the break if you're Carlos Lopez. If he feels that there's no speed in there, he's got to stay close. If a horse like Holy Synchronicity goes after Brother Conway, you just let this horse get into a rhythm and run. At 7 furlongs, at least he has the time to make up some ground in the stretch. But again, he's got to get back to form. If he goes off at around that 4-1 price, I think it's fair for him.
And don't sleep on Whiskey
Never.
and You. Don't sleep on Whiskey and You. 7/8 might be just a touch too much against a field like this, but I can see Toro Rob, if he takes a peek outside, nobody really kind of wants to go, he can be thrust into the action early and give you a battle for a long, long way. I've always been a fan of Whiskey and You.
Good race to kick off our first of 3 50-cent pick fours. 4-6-2-7 for Keith, 2-6-4-1 for me in race number 2. Race number 3, 1 mile on the turf, 3-year-olds and up. This is one of those starter optional claiming races. They've started for a claiming price of $8,000 or less in their last 3, or the claiming range 12.5 down to 10. Let's take out the 6, the 7, the 12, the 13, 14, 15, 16. That means the 11, Be Determined, gets in to the body of this race. This is the first leg of our middle pick 4 of the day. 50-cent pick 4. We offer early, middle, and late on 9 race cards here at Laurel Park. But you had to make some changes after the scratches, and I can Be Determined really ran well last time out, and we have a trainer stat for Suzanne Stettinius, one of the more underrated trainers on the entire circuit.
Yeah, and looking to pick things up. The last 5 years on the turf, 4 for 19, 21%, second off of a 60 to a 200-day layoff. You're getting that today. ROI 246. Like this one last time, off the lengthy layoff, slid through to the inside. Quick early, took advantage of it. Got to the 8th pole and said, no mas. We're backing up to a mile. Again, this is a race, that does not have any true speed. He's not a super fast horse, but he's got those 5.5s in the back. I think a lot's going to be determined by the time they hit the back stretch, what kind of position Forrest is able to get this guy into. I don't want him 3-4 wide. Hopefully he can just kind of gradually move up under some cover and then bring a finish. Tricky race here. A horse like Joe is a horse I'm looking back. And you look at his buyer figures on the turf, steady. If he can get anything close to that, he's got to be a player. Where's he going to be? What's wrong with his dirt form? Will the turf bring this guy back to life?
Another situation where it's Ness third off the layoff, by the way. We do have a trainer stat for Jamie. Yeah. This is just the simple dirt to turf. 7 for the last 33, $2 ROI. Positive return on investment. Joe ran on turf 3 starts back. It was a mile and a 16th race, and he was just 3-4 wide all the way around the track, and I just want to give him that race. J-Rod, of course, had his choice of several horses in here. He's obviously going to go to Ness. He has the back class to win. He has the figures to win. He has the connections to win. I just wonder if he's going to be a slight underlay in this spot, considering his recent form.
I totally agree with that. I mean, if he's laying there at 2-1, you just can't get real serious about that. I will use him in my multi-race wagers. Always gambling. A horse I originally had on my ticket. And he went from third to out of it. Again, will be used in my exactas and tries because I'm going to spread a little bit with some prices. Sell me on this Sarah White training.
I thought this horse ran well in his most recent turf start. You've got to go all the way back to last summer. He kind of hopped up at the break. He saved ground in mid-pack. He altered course down to the rail when he was in behind horses, and he ran on a little bit at the end. I don't think there's a ton of speed in this race, and I think Weston Hamilton, if he breaks from the rail with always gambling, stretching out from 6 furlongs to a mile, can either find himself on the lead or in a coveted pocket position, hoping for a clear run in the stretch. And it's not like his dirt form is bad either. 2 starts back, the horse ran just fine, running second at Laurel on a wet track. I think 6 might have been too short for him last time out, so he's getting distance he wants, he's run well on turf, and he's going to be a price.
Yeah, he looks like he's got to be 1, 2, 3 as soon as they enter the backstretch, coming off of the 3/4 on the main track. Masakato is a horse, again, I'm going to toss in as some value. Just going back, I'm going to give him a pass on that 5.5 race. If you go back on the page, bumped around at the break on the turf. Comes back today, to me, he's done some good work up towards the front. He's got a sibling that would like to go blazing, a full sib on the turf. Fade a little bit late. Did run in the low to mid 70s. I think a comparable buyer figure that would work. Goes first off the claim. They're going to go here on the turf. Let's see how far Torralba can nurse this guy.
Ricky Silliman's had good success with horses coming up from Tampa Bay Downs. And while I realize coaches meeting won on dirt last time out, his turf form is pretty good. I think you can even make the argument he's slightly better. The buyer's speed figures would indicate that. His most recent start on turf, he ran into a couple of next out winners. One of those horses came back with a 78 buyer over the Tapeta surface at Presque Isle. And he's another horse. If Daniel Centeno wants, he can get close to the pace with this horse, and that could be a big advantage.
I would just go ahead and let him roll into the first turn. If he's 2 or 3 wide, that's okay. I think he can relax with that natural speed to stalk and then finish. He had trouble on the 2 back race. I've got it trouble early, then around the far turn, and then kept kind of grinding. I expected a little bit more still against that group late. Didn't get it. Has run okay over this turf course. I do think he's got to be fairly forward.
How about the 9-time winner, the number 5, Fun Lovin' Criminal? I think you can argue this horse is one of the better closers in this field, and he's still relatively unexposed on turf. He's only raced a handful of times on the surface. He's hit the board in 60% of them, and the last time he raced on the turf, he faced 2 next out winners, one coming back winning with an 83 buyer at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, he's pretty much been an ATM machine for everybody who's had him. He's always knocking on the door, second off the claim for Sullivan. He might take some play in here with Sanchez riding. Follow through. Are we going to get it? You know, I'm looking for the back Fun-Loving Criminal. He might be just a touch shorter for me to really take that. I go be determined. Joe, if Masakato's laying up there at double digits, maybe I take a shot with him. And even your horse, yeah.
That's a really wide open, great betting race. It is. 11-10-3-9 for Keith, 1-11-10-5 for me in race number 3. Race number 4 is a 1-turn mile on the main track. It's for 3-year-olds, which never won a race other than maiden, claiming, or starter. Optional claiming range 62.5 down to 50. Big scratch in the 2, Chesapeake Dream, because now we have a field of 5 and we don't have a field with a lot of pace. This is the first leg of our Chesapeake Pick 6 jackpot wager. It's a 20-cent minimum, and if you pick the winners in each of the last 6 races, and the only one to do so, there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The carryover is slowly creeping up over 2,800, and that's good enough for me.
I'm going to sneak in there, probably play a little Pick 6 ticket. You talked about the scratch of Chesapeake Dream. Does that leave the 4 Moments Notice alone on the lead?
I'm not sure if he's going to be alone on the lead, but I do think he's going to be able to back down those fractions to his liking. The good news for our shared top pick, the 6 Urban Symphony, is he's by no means a one-run closer or a slow horse, at least ever since being stretched back out in distance for Jamie Ness, where he's been right on the pace in both starts, and he's won them both by a combined 24 lengths. He just looks like a completely new animal, and the way he won last time out, it was just a Sunday stroll.
It was a cakewalk for Urban Symphony, and he was supposed to beat that field. I don't know if he was going to do it that easily, but he did. And this is a horse going back, and I always thought had a little bit of ability, and it's kind of coming out right now. He's shining bright. Urban Symphony. I think maybe he has an opportunity to shadow the speed of a horse like Moments Notice. But Moments Notice, let's go to a video spotlight of its most recent race at Gulfstream Park. The blinkers went on 2 races back. That was the first off of a break. Puts it together here, beats the next out winner. Another horse came out of this race to run well, but he was comfortable outside prompting, and when it was time to go, he really responded and has a chance to kind of, I think, move up off of this effort.
Just seems like he has a lot of upside, arguably more upside than our horse. He's only raced 6 times, and he was comfortable sitting off of that fairly easy pace. They went almost 23 seconds to the opening quarter, but as you see, he pours it on over these foes, and you're right. He's really improved since the blinkers and Lasix have come on. It was nice to see Miguel Clement get his first victory the other day, and this horse's speed puts him right in the mix. He's a very, very dangerous contender.
You look at some of the company he kept as a 2-year-old as well. Jonathan's Way, graded stakes type. It's there, and you're right. Upside certainly is apparent here with the 4 moments notice. Cadeau de Jar, you want to go there first, or where do you want to go
next?
Let's
go to Cadeau de Jar, because Niall Saville, it seems like all of his horses are firing, including Cadeau de Jar. We have a video spotlight. This is his career debut, and it's not like he got away to a really great start at Pimlico. That inside post can be so intimidating for young first-time starters, and he just wasn't away from there very fast. After that, though, they set things up for him. They went quick second quarter, 23.02, and to Cadeau d'Argent's credit, he's keeping up to that quick second quarter and advancing into it, and then he keeps on going, and he runs down a highly touted Baffert horse in Priveman and a next-out winner in Furmantown. This horse might be for real. Forget the fact he was 67-1.
That's the key. He ran like a really good horse. A little hiccup out of the gate, recovers and runs into this flow. Priveman came back to run an 82 at Churchill Downs. Look at this finish, the sustainable run. And granted, we talked about the track was maybe favoring a little bit of closers. Outside was good. But, man, he kept on well through the gallop out.
Amy's Music is a horse that has been able to lay close to the pace in his last 2 races. Will he be able to still show off that sort of kick that he showed 3 starts back when he was really far back and made a nice run? Now, in that race, he kind of was hopped at the start and was off slow, so maybe he was back there not by design, but because circumstances dictated it. If you think he can be close to the pace, and this turns into a sprint with a bunched-up field turning for home, he might have the best kick of all of them.
I totally agree. Caught wide after the early trouble. We talked about the trip last time. We might have shown that replay of the race 3 back against Just a Fair Shake. So he's there. I mean, can he take it up one more little bit of a notch? I think he can. I think he can for Trombetta. This guy's got some fight in him.
We'll see if Urban Symphony just can do it again. He's won his last 2 in monstrous form. We both have 6-4 in here. Keith's got the 5 and the 1 underneath. I have the 1 and the 3. 4 down, 5 to go on a Friday afternoon card at Laurel Park. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Today at the Races. I'm Dan. He's Keith. 4 down, 5 to go. Here's the field for race number 5. 1-turn mile with a long stretch to the second wire. It is a nickel claimer, and there are some real hard hitters in here. It's also the first leg of our final value pick 5 of the afternoon. 12% takeout. You can't stress it enough. It's best bet in racing. Low takeout means more money in your pocket. 50-cent minimum. Our friend and colleague Mackenzie Pfeiffer has a ticket for us, and she's singling with your top pick right away. Wow.
Rob the Rich. Let's go,
Rob me if this horse wins.
It's Singletonian here with the 1 in race number 5 for this $24 ticket. Let's see, race 6. She's going to go 6 and 7. Annihilate him, Gordito. Yeah, I like those 2 as well. Race 7 with the 1, 4, 6, and 10. Yeah, the scratch of the 7, Queen Regent, kind of throws a little wrench into that. You're going to take out a couple of the MTOs as well. It's a good race, race 7. I think you have to kind of spread around in there. Race 8 with the 3 and the 5, Augusta Medley and Haley's First Notion for Gary Cap. Let's wrap it up. 3, 7, and 8, High View, Minari, Incisive Kitten. We haven't seen in a while. That's my top selection. Off of some trouble. It's a $24 late value pick 5, 12% takeout, 50-cent minimum play. Please play along.
It's Jamie Ness trainer stat day here on
Yes.
Today at the Races. We have another one for the number 1, Rob the Rich, who is your top selection in this race, and also Mackenzie's single. So we're going to take a look at the trainer stat for the 1, Rob the Rich. In this particular instance, when Jamie has a sharp horse and decides to give him a little bit of a freshening for whatever reason, they still fire. 41% and a positive ROI, with last out winners making their first start after 2 to 4 month layoffs. Last time out, this horse made his first start off the Ness Reclaim. We always talk about how that's a really nice angle, and he aired. Personally, I thought he walked the dog on the lead that day,
He did.
and he sprinted on home, and he had everything his own way, and he can't get the lead in here. I'm slightly against him, but I'm rooting for you and Mac.
I appreciate that. Thank you. We're going to need your support. But as you said, 2 for 2 for Ness.
Yeah.
The Reclaim. Back figures. I always like that with a guy like Ness. They can kind of come back and move up off of that. It's a 12-time winner. You talked about the field. We got a 12-time winner, a 10-time winner, 8-time winner. You love these kind of races. I don't think he's as fast early, energy efficient, Pudge Boy Palace if he wants to go, even a horse like Morning Thought. So Rob the Rich will need to break, get position, but I do think he can stalk and move into this flow today.
The good news is he has shown he can rate and finish, and one of the horses he beat last time out, Wind Giant, came back, and he not only won with an 80 buyer, but he won by a dozen lengths. So Rob the Rich's race looks legitimate from that standpoint. I'm hoping Morning Thoughts just didn't like Pimlico. He's run twice at Pimlico in his career, and he hasn't run very well either time, including his most recent start on May the 10th, a race where he kind of set a pressured pace inside another horse. He was really hard ridden and didn't look comfortable on the turn. And the other horse that pressed him finished 4th, and he finished 5th. Morning Thoughts, I think if they leave him alone in the early stages of the race, is very dangerous, and his prior starts at Laurel Park are pretty good. So I want to give him a chance getting back to a one-turn mile where he's run well in the past and hopefully being forwardly placed.
I agree. He's going to be in the mix for me. And a lot depends, I think, on what these horses to the inside of him go ahead and do. But he's versatile enough. If he needs to go ahead and sit, and he's coming back down in class, I think he can track and make a move and sustain and keep going. Pudge Boy Palace, I don't know what to make of that trip last time. You see my short comment, taken back, taken wide. I just don't know what was going on there. He figured to be forward in that race, and everything changes the moment the gates opened.
Also, if you just want to simply look at it and say, he was in against way too tough. He was in against first-level allowance foes. The race before, for 30 to 22 back going the mile, he ran really well with a giant figure. And if he runs back to that figure for a nickel, he's going to be really, really tough. And this is another horse that's very, very versatile. So if you just think he was in too tough, and maybe he wasn't, he was 6-1 in that race. A lot of folks thought he was going to win off of that 82 buyer, me included, and you saw that where it took me. But Pudge Boy Palace is a player in here. I think he's in career form.
And you see the two-back race right there with holy synchronicity. We saw what he did next out, and he's a player earlier on this card. A horse I've got in the mix that you don't have, and this is a horse has been entered and scratched a lot throughout his career, and that's Southern District. Thought his last race was good. He was able to recover. Let's go to that video spotlight if we can on April the 19th. Watch this one.
He does not break well at all, and Southern District is just a card-trying horse. When you miss the break by 2 lengths and you're 7 years old and you haven't won a race in a while, it's going to make your backers nervous. The good news for Southern District is he really ran well. Watch him start picking it up.
Oh, he picks it up here, leaving the far turn 3/8 pole, and it sustains. And Weston Hamilton had to be tired after this ride. I was tired watching it. I was tired for the horse. I mean, just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding. It's a figure that's not going to wow you, and I keep thinking this guy's going to jump back to some of those buyer speed figures that he once ran. But he's a trier. As you said, he's won 10 races. He is 4 for 9 at the distance. He likes the one-turn mile. And horses like Energy Efficient, I think, is going to be forward, Pudge Boy Palace, and Morning Thoughts get tangled up. Yes, when he's close, his A-B+ race puts him into the mix.
One of the horses he beat in that race, Kickstart, and this came back, ran really well. 65 buyer, went second in a condition claimer at Parks. 1, 6, 7, and 5 for Keith. He's going to try to rob the rich. Morning Thoughts, I'm hoping to get back to form with back to Laurel Park angle. 7, 5, 1, and 4. Let's Let's take a look at race number 6. Here's the field. This is a maiden claiming event going 1 mile and a 16th for 3-year-olds and up. 16 down to 12.5, the claiming price. Maryland breds eligible for the 20. Take out the 1 and also take out your also eligibles, 11 down through 16. Let's talk about the 6, Annihilate 'em. But first, before we do that,
Okay.
Super Jackpot High 5.
Yeah.
$1 minimum play, 15% takeout. The carryover's up to 3,608. This is your classic jackpot super high 5 race. There's a lot of chaos, but if you're right, you're taking it all down, I think.
You're taking a nice little chunk of change home, and I think the majority of bettors are going to be keying around our top 2 selections, the 6 and the 7. They both come off of races on April the 18th over this turf course. We'll show you a video spotlight of the 6. Annihilate 'em on April the 18th. Maiden 16 down to 12.5 was claimed out of this race and then put up to a maiden special weight race on the dirt. Let's talk about this trip, Dan.
It's not like this pace was very, very fast. The horse on the lead just really dropped the anchor on him. But he was able to make an attack on the turn, and he's going to get a little bit tired. You're going to see when this horse comes to his outside, he's going to flop back to his left lead, but he never stops trying. And I just think that's a really good sign. That and his tactical speed allows him to get close. They ran him on dirt last time out. I think this turf race showed he's better on turf, and he ran into a really good first-time starter on dirt. So he's dropping back in for the tag, second off the Henry Walters claim. This is a horse that just seems to fit. Henry sent out Hank's Divining Rod to win going dirt to turf, I believe, last year. So the angles work for Annihilate 'em. He certainly fits. You could use him. This is the first leg of our late 50-cent pick 4. I slightly prefer Gordito, however, who I thought ran pretty well in his turf debut. It was the slower division. The faster division, I believe, was Annihilate 'em's race that same day going 1 mile. Gordito, I thought, was on hole turning for home. I have him steadied a bit turning into the stretch. He had to alter course down to the rail, and then he was second to the favorite, El Brillante, who then came back and ran second in a $20,000 non-2 claimer with a 65 buyer. So the form has been flattered. He had some trouble in that race, and I think he has a little upside.
I mean, these two, when you're breaking down this, they're like the only two you can really have any true faith in. These proven good races over the turf course. Who's that stranger that's going to jump up and bite you? I think it might be the 9, Kevin of Black Rock, Black Rock Road up near me in Carroll County, and Baltimore County. I'm just going off of breeding here. The bottom side, Sassy Love, 10 for 14 in the money on turf, I believe, with a win. This horse is a half to Judy Blue Eyes, a multiple winner on the turf. So stayed in that off the turf race last time, got a little extra conditioning. Why not? First turf is a small sample, a good ROI. You can kind of extend that out a little bit. Should work for trainer Kenneth Cox.
Maybe City Panda's kind of the stranger for me in here. This horse sprinted in his turf debut and just was outrun early, and he had to swing very wide into the stretch. He just never really made up ground. He was in for the 45-36 waiver race. He's all dropping all the way down to 16. They're going to stretch him back out. Maybe we'll see a little bit more for City Panda. He's a half to Panda Gate who really wanted to go long on dirt. So I think maybe Panda can maybe appreciate getting out in distance. But we're guys 6, 7, 7, 6 to kick off the final pick 4. 6, 7, 9, 8 for Keith. 7, 6, 5, 8 for me in race number 6. Race number 7 is on the turf. We're going 1 mile and a 16th on the Acceler turf course. There's a couple of big scratches in here, most notably the 7. Queen Regent. That horse was going to take a ton of play in here. Also take out the 3, the 8, the 9, the 11, main track only horses. These are fillies and mares, second level allowance horses with an optional claiming price. 40 down to 32. I want to start with my pick in here, and that is Next Girl. We've got a trainer stat for Next Girl. Robbie Bales, second after layoffs between 180 and 365 days, 6 for the last 25, 24%, 242 ROI. Next Girl ran off the layoff last time out, worked out an in-out trip, finished up okay, galloped out okay, but it must be noted, this horse had the setup.
Absolutely.
It was a very, very fast pace, and I think you might be actually on the right horse to take out of that race, the 6 Bay Street, because he was the only part of the pace still hanging around at the end, and he might not have to work nearly as hard to get to the front here.
The whole key to me for her is the opening quarter of a mile. Let's get out of the gate, Toledo, break cleanly, One horse I think it could be a little bit of a pass. That's Life, Love, and Laughter, the horse to her inside. But she held well last time through those internals. Any ability to clear, I think Toledo can rate this one early and bring a finish. And you're looking at a good number at about an 8-1 on the morning line. We'll come down some, I believe, off of that because of the scratch. But I'm taking a shot with Bay Street today. I think Anoint and the 10, very similar. Princess Jumpancy loves this turf course, 4 for 6. And Anoint, off of a break. But the two-back race at Penn National is a race that really kind of caught my eye when those two ran against each other. This horse was held up a little bit in the hard turn, took more play at the windows, got outside and finished up well. I think this one, the one, Anoint, holds value in race number 7.
And she looked really good in her only prior start at Laurel Park on the turf, 3 back, just rallying from out of it. Daniel Centeno aboard Anoint, just hoping for a little bit of pace and race luck. I've always been a big fan of the 10. Princess Javancia. This is another one returning off of a layoff for Lizzie Merriman last time. Again, worked out an in-out trip going a mile and an eighth and just never stopped trying. Ran second that day. She's a 9-time winner. She's run well fresh in the past, and she's tactical enough to work out her own trip. She's always a contender in my book.
You can see this. And look at a 2-back try in October. Attended to pace with Paper Mansion winning. Paper Mansion was on an absolute tear in 24. Won a lot of races, close enough. I don't think they'll be too far back against this group.
Keith's going 6, 1, 10, and 12. I'm going 12, 10, 6, and 4. Horses coming out of a common race in race number 7. Race number 8, the first leg of our late daily double. We're going 3/4 of a mile on the main track. Non-winners of 3 other than maiden claiming, waiver claiming, etc. With the optional claiming price 55 down to 44. Field of 6 in here. Intriguing matchup between our 2 morning line favorites. The 3 Augusta Melody for Brittany Russell and the 5 Haley's First Notion for Gary Kapp. Let's watch the video spotlight for Haley. He really looked good in here because he was a little bit sluggish from the break, but he recovered real quick.
Now you see the comment, scent. Okay, pay attention when we put that in there because that means this horse didn't break as we expect, a little slower than normal, but man, gets rushed right into it. Watch this move. Hustled up into that flow of 22 in 3, battles, and is able to kind of go clear and just beat this field well clear. 5 and some change, handles the pressure. Look, gets challenged here. Bandcamp outside and just says, all right, or I'm sorry, play harder in the Eubank Silks and just goes away. Turns away. This was an impressive performance, an outside draw, a little bit sharper break today. Could clear off possibly against this group. Maybe Augusta Melody's going to have something to say about that. Radical Right was put into the mix early with Paco Lopez last time, but man, Capuano, Gary Kapp coming back off of a win, I should say. He's very deadly, and look at this run that he's been on.
Between May 4th and June the 1st, 5 for the last 17, 29% to 235 ROI. I think if he breaks, he's faster than Augusta Melody. I think he can get to the lead. I'm sure Gary Kapp is pleased that he's outside that horse in the gate because if Augusta Melody or if Radical Right want to go, Haley's First Notion, in my opinion, will have no problem sitting third on the outside, prompting clear of traffic. He's a very logical contender. We saw Augusta Melody during the Preakness meeting at Pimlico, and this horse just looked really good that day. A 95 Beyer speed figure. He was bet down to odds on. He prompted a 15-1 shot that ended up finishing third. But once he made the lead, he kept grinding and going. Brittany's got this horse good now, seeking a hat trick. And again, he can sit close to the pace.
This horse has had time in the barn, is getting better and better and better. Topped off with a 95 Beyer last time out. That's going to put you right there against this group. This horse, I like the way this horse was handled up on the front end. Took a little pressure, was able to kind of separate, like really held firm. Looks like he's got a little bit more finish in him than what he had on the go back. I like a price horse in here into the mix. And I think this might be my key horse in race number 8, and that's the 4 on the mark. Dan, you don't have this guy in there. I just think he's a little bit better on a fast track. He's had some issues last time out in that sloppy seal. He was in tight early, steadied, far turn, just kind of grinded it out for a little bit of a piece. If things get hot and heavy, Tylia Piscina, Jock, I know you really like around here. She can be patient. He comes away cleanly. I think he drafts in a very good position and finishes better on a drier surface.
I think you make excellent points. Just look at his last race on dirt. It was an 87 Beyer speed figure. He got wired that day in a race where they ran 1-2 around the track, and it was the only horse making up any kind of lake ground. It was a really good performance. And then the time before that, he's in against Prince of Jericho in the Fireplug Stakes on dirt. And the time before that, he wins with an 87 Beyer. You're right. Fast dirt might be what In the Mark wants. And if the 3 and the 5 just happen to hook things up early, it sets things up for a horse like In the Mark. Batinga's twin is kind of an interesting class master, making a seasonal debut for Anthony Farrier. They tried him in the city of Laurel last time out. He was far from embarrassed off of that race, and he was coming into that race off 2 really strong figs.
Yeah, and you look at the layoffs, plus 180 days. Yeah, it's been good. Primarily those have been out of town, though. They haven't been here. We'll see if this guy can ramp it up. He was entered, last week? He decided to opt out and goes here. Maybe that's a little bit of a tell. He'll be perched. Can he finish up off the break against this quality group?
It's a shame that layoffs have derailed General Jim's career, because this horse won the Pate Mile and the Swale in 2023 and looked like he'd be a nice middle distance horse. Things just didn't work out. Now he's coming off about an 11-month layoff. What do you do with General Jim? Because on his best day, he certainly fits with these horses, if not outright wins.
I'm going to sit and wait, maybe a touch underneath if I decide to just go ahead. He'll be on one of my tickets if I say, you know what, I'm just going to take on the Mark top and bottom first ticket and then go from there. That's how he's going to be on my ticket.
5, 4, 6, 3. Like how Keith tries to split the favorites in his exacta. 3, 5, 6, and 1 for me in race 8. We'll conclude with race number 9, 1 mile on the turf. Fillies and mares 3 and up, started for a claiming price 25 less, which have never won 2, or a non-winners at 225 down to 20. Take out the MTO, the 11 Gourmet. Incisive Kitten is where we're going to land in here. We have a video spotlight for Incisive Kitten's most recent race. You got to go all the way back to October 17th.
Yeah, we're going to pick up this Country Life Farm runner, leaving the 5/16 pole right there in the familiar silks, the blue cap, orange silks, and just has to work through traffic or really kind of know where to go, a little zigzagging through the final 3/16 of a mile. But when it's all said and done, I think this filly finishes okay against this group, which is a stronger group than I think pretty much anybody has faced. High View is going to take plenty of play. Didn't face a field like Incisive Kitten did. Sky Victory came back to run a 72. Whispering Sea, a good win, good number, good enough number. Yeah, Trombi off the layoff. I'll take a shot.
Big, strong filly. I think will benefit from the layoff to grow into that big body, and I just think Incisive Kitten fits very well at this class level, and I don't think she needs to come from so far back. If the pace is slow, she can stay close. High View was a super impressive debut winner. Let's watch High View's career debut. Now, this horse acted up a little bit before the start, then was way off of the pace, but High View comes rolling, and once this one swings into the stretch, it's good night, Irene.
A little interesting move there, kind of shook the head a little bit past the quarter pole, levels off here, switch to the correct lead, leaving the 3/16, and really finishes strong this last eighth of a mile to win, going away, reeling in Radiant Tones. Really nice effort coming back. Now it's a smaller sample with the debut winners. I think 2 or 3 have hit the board. Has yet to win with one is Tim Woolley. But this was an eye-catching kind of a run, sustainable run, and wide run in debut for High View. A price shot, number 2. Born Charmer for Greg Wilson. Forest Voice, 15-1 on the line. Has never tried the turf. Only raced 6 times in her young career. But you know what? When Greg Wilson goes in and claims, I pay attention, and looking at the family, half the Dendrobia, kin to that away, Misty on point, turf, some speed to lay it close, 447 career ROI, Greg Wilson, dirt to turf. I'll take the shot. If you need a little bit of a bailout horse, that might be the one to select in race number 9.
Trombi has Incisive Kitten. He also has Scholar, who went gate to wire, stretching out and switching to turf for the first time. Got a beautiful ride that day from Michael Sanchez. Just backed it down to almost identical 25-second opening quarters, and then just tucked them into bed with a third quarter and 24-2. She can get close to the pace again. I'm not sure she can outright make the lead, but she at least showed she improved on turf last time out.
Yeah, and then you have to say, okay, we have to give her another shot because, hey, maybe she just kind of inherited a lead and took the rating. She could be one that could sit just off of it and finish up.
8, 3, 2, and 7 for Keith. 8, 3, 5, and 1 for me. And the finale on a nice wagering day at Laurel Park and a beautiful weather day at Laurel Park. Value or best play?
Seventh race. I think we still should get a little bit of value on number 6, Bay Street. You talked about that flow last time. It was hot. It was contested. She held well. If she clears, this is the whole key for me. I need her to clear early. I think she stretches that speed a long way in the 7th.
I'll go in the finale. You saw the video spotlight on Incisive Kitten, in behind horses, altered course sharply, and then ran on late. I think she'll be ready to go off the layoff. Fair morning line, 6-1. 9 races on today's card. Main track fast, turf is firm. We're 20 minutes out. Callie Francois, Mackenzie Pfeiffer, and Dave Rodman will take you through the day. And let's go up to the voice of Maryland Racing, the great Dave Rodman, for scratches and changes.
All right, good luck, everybody.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Laurel Park. Main track fast and the turf course is firm. Temperature in the low 80s, light winds out of the southwest between 5 and 10 miles per hour. 19 minutes to post time, 12:10. Here's a look at your Laurel Park changes. First race, number 9, Roller Coaster Man. Jockey Forrest Boyce. Forrest Boyce on the 9, Roller Coaster Man. Scratch the 11, Kissling, first race. In the second race, all clear with no changes. Third race, scratch 6, Silver Bullet 20. Scratch 7, Forest City. Scratch 12, Bonded. Scratch 13, Factotum. 14, Citizen K. Scratch 15, Marathoner. And 16, Vanzy. Fourth race, start of the Chesapeake Pick 6, 2000, 832 carryover. Scratch number 2, Chesapeake Dream. 2, Chesapeake Dream, scratch race 4. Fifth race, no changes. Sixth race, Jackpot Super High 5 carryover 3,608. Scratch number 1, Maupassant. Number 3, Earl of Godiva 1 over. 4, Tyson's Deliveries 2 over. 7, Gordito 3 over. 9, Kevin of Blackrock 3 over. Scratch the 11, Blackthorn Brusca 12, Let Fly. Scratch 13, Great Artists 14, D Hopper. And scratch 15, Oh What a Night, and the 16, Gladstone. Seventh race, scratch 3, Viennese Waltz. Scratch 7, Queen Regent. Scratch 8, Lovely Charm. Scratch 9, Too Many Kisses. And scratch the 11, Warrior's Ransom. Eighth race, no changes. Ninth race, scratch the 11, Gourmet. Scratch the 11, race 9. 17 minutes to post time. Value pick 5s early and late, 12% takeout. Chesapeake Pick 6. Starts in race 4, Jackpot Super High 5 race. The 6th on the card. Fast and firm. Good luck this afternoon at Laurel Park.